It's 5:44. More on our main story today, the memorial service in West London for the 72 people who died in the Grenfell Tower fire a year ago today. Survivors and relatives held white roses at the service in North Kensington. And outside, they released doves, and at midday, a nationwide silence was observed across the UK. One group of people moved by the tragic events at Grenfell Tower was a community in Cornwall, which set up the group called Cornwall Hugs Grenfell to offer families who survived the fire free holidays in that very nice region. In a moment, I'll be speaking to Esme Page, who set up the group and was at today's commemoration. First, let's have a look at a music video they've released to raise awareness of the work they're doing. Just a flavour there of the rather uplifting and calming music that they've released on that video, Cornwall Hugs Grenfell. And Esme Page is in West London for us. Esme, thank you so much for joining us. Just wondering, what does today mean for you and those who've been campaigning to reach out and to help families who've been suffering over the last year?
Well, I guess in a way it's just very moving to see all of those people that we've brought. About 250 people have been down now. The courage here today and the dignity and the community, it's very lovely to be with them and to see how they're marking this time and in lots of very special and private ways. We had a memorial at sea actually for a group of survivors down in Cornwall just in the half-term week, and that was special too. It's just to see those moments of private reflection. And I suppose to do that in a beautiful Cornish setting was meaningful too. So I've sort of seen the two things now, and I'm very, very glad to be here today.
We've got some lovely images of the Cornish seaside and some of those people who've been enjoying it, Esme. I'm just wondering, tell us a little more about the genesis of this idea and how you've progressed it over the last year. How's it developed?
Well, it really just plopped in on the morning of the fire when I was watching Danny Cotton talking, and it was becoming apparent that this was something of a magnitude way beyond anything that the fire brigade had seen in London before, and just thinking of how hopeless it was and how people would need a horizon, need some hope, and that's very much been the case. Cornwall just responded with a flood of accommodation offers, and we've been bringing people since 6 weeks after the fire. Sometimes in groups, sometimes individually. It's really about making new memories, having a time as a family that's after the fire so that you can say, remember when, and it not always meaning something that was before that. But also about a time to grieve. The song talks about that, and I think it's often only when you can come to a place of rest that some of that can start to happen. And I think people have felt really seen and valued, which of course when we reflect on why the fire happened, it is healing in itself. To actually be seen in your need and met is really significant. And we've had now over 20% of the people that actually lived in the tower that managed to get out, as well as close neighbours who saw it, and firefighters. So it feels now, wandering around today, I'm just bumping into people all the time, lots of hugs, and actually it's interesting because they feel they belong now in Cornwall, and in a funny sort of a way, representing Cornwall, I feel I belong a little bit here too.
I should say something about the music video, Esme, as well, because it was lovely. And just tell us a little bit about how that came about and what you're trying to achieve with it.
It was in the memorial service in St Paul's in December, which was so beautiful. And listening to the Bishop of Kensington, I felt there was a gap in the sense of what are we going to sing at a year and 5 years and 10 years so that our children really understand the significance of this event, and also the legacy of love that came forward afterwards here in London and also all over the UK. And so we wanted something that people could share, that they could express how they feel, the same way that people sent clothes and donations, that they could actually do this together. And nearly 5,000 people across the world, Auckland, Buenos Aires, Minneapolis, Moscow, and lots of cathedrals and schools, particularly tomorrow, are singing this in the UK. And so that's obviously has met a need for people to say, we're with you, we stand with you, we're not going to forget this, and we are going to listen and to love, which was what the Bishop preached about. And we're going to seek change, because it can't be that people are living in unsafe accommodation and screaming out about it and nothing's happening. So I guess it's a song of solidarity, and the survivors have been telling me, have been responding. They helped check the words beforehand, and we played it to them in Mousehole in Cornwall, and for the first time, and there were tears and there was applause. But one of them just posted yesterday, this song has become very close to my heart, and then she wrote, it feels right as it represents us. And for us and the creators, Philip Stopford, Andrew Longfield, and the choristers at Truro, that was was really the best response that we could have, and to know that people wanted to sing it.
Lovely to talk to you, Esme. Thank you so much for joining us today.
Thank you, Huw.
Nice to talk to Esme Page there. And in West London, we'll be bringing you special coverage of the 1-year anniversary of the Grenfell Tower disaster, including a silent walk in the area to remember those victims. It's just before 7 o'clock this evening here on BBC News.